Hello everybody and welcome to the show. I'm so happy to introduce my very first guest of the show, Diana. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I honestly, the first person that I thought of when I thought who do I want to be my very first guest of the show, immediately straight away it was you, because I just feel that you embody so many of the things that I would like to hopefully teach other women about in terms of feminine energy, self-love, also just the spiritual journey of being in a relationship as well. And I feel that you embody that yourself so much, and then also you teach other women to empower them to step more into their own self-love and their own feminine energy. So I'm just so happy to have you here, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much for bringing me here. So honored to share this talk with you and hopefully reach to any women out there who needs to listen to this talk.
Yes,
it's gonna be beautiful.
And so for those that don't already know who you are, maybe you could give people a little bit of an introduction to who you are.
Yes, so my name is Diana and I'm from Colombia, and right now I identify myself as a leader who is coaching women to empower their lives through movement, through breath, and through, really loving themselves as they are, and to tap into their feminine energy, which is the most powerful energy a woman can tap into. I came to Dubai 13 years ago, and I was a waitress. And so I didn't have any English when I came here and start building my own life here from scratch. And then with the passing of years, after 3 years of being here, I decided I'm gonna take my life to the next level. And I thought I could really go into the fitness environment and become a fitness trainer. And so I did. And that was a really powerful journey of my life, where I started teaching women to work into their bodies, being healthy, having a healthy routine, and looking up to be physically strong, and also solving some mental issues as well through exercise and through food. After some time, I became a yoga teacher, something that I love as well. Meditating and stretching and yoga, all this helped me to understand that it was not just about my physical body, but also my mental state and my spiritual connection with myself and with the higher self. And finally, after all these years, I opened my own company, Empowerment, which is running retreats and creating these powerful journeys around the world to empower as many people as possible to awaken to this solution of life through movement, through culture, through spiritual healing. And right now I am not a fitness trainer anymore. I am a woman who likes to empower other women and also runs powerful retreats with men and women, and also just women. So and along the way I met you, one of our clients in the retreats, and now seeing your progress and what you have done with your life is amazing, and I can see so much greatness in you as a woman, and you are also embodying that feminine energy to create the life you wanted and you always wanted. So that's me.
Wow, thank you for that beautiful introduction. Diana was actually one of my first friends when I came out here, and she introduced me to so many beautiful women, and now we have this kind of sisterhood group going on. And so maybe we can start actually talking about, in terms of feminine energy, a big part of that I think is sisterhood. And so what has been your journey with sisterhood? Because right now I feel like you are just the queen of empowering other women, but has that always been the case? Have you always had a healthy relationship with fellow sisters, or has that been a bit of a journey for you?
That's an interesting question. So when I was younger, as I remember when I was in the school, and I had so many conflicts with women, and there was this kind of jealousy between me and them, and a lot of fight between women. Now that I look back and I'm like, how did I dare ever to hate a woman or to judge or just to like make her life impossible? I was not really nice at the school. And yeah, with passing of years, right now when I've been working with women for so long, and honestly, it's my favorite part of my work is really interacting with women and understanding their stories and understanding how similar we are in a way and how much we go through the same things, like self-worth, lack of confidence, comparison, and all of those things. So yeah, not all my life I was into sisterhood. Actually, I was the opposite. I was having a lot of conflict with women. But right now that I love women, I love to empower women, I found out how important it is to have a circle of women who empower and lift each other, and not of people who judge, of women who judge each other, who make each other feel like less, you know. So for me personally, I love to have women's circles, women's getaway, women, like I love my time with my girls, and I think that's one of the most important things in women's health, is to come together with a really empowering and like-minded women, because that way you can actually feel you are not alone in this journey. And women, we go through a lot, you know, we go through many emotions throughout the month, because we live into cycles, and we go through this emotion roller coaster that men wouldn't understand. So for example, with my partner, he wouldn't understand the way I feel. As if I sit with you and I explain these things to you, you will understand it in a different way, and you will have your feedback in a different way. So yeah, it's really powerful to realize that few years ago, many years ago, I wasn't the person I am, and the reason I wasn't empowered is because also I didn't understand the value of being in a sisterhood, the value of acknowledging other women as someone who goes through a lot of things the same as I am. So yeah.
So for any women that maybe they recognize within themselves that they feel jealous of other women or things like that, what would be your recommendations of, you know, what were the things that you implemented into your life or into your mentality to shift from being someone who maybe had some conflict with women in the past and things like that, to now just this total shift of you know, your whole purpose is about empowering other women? And so what do you think created that shift for you?
Well, that shift for you started because I now love myself. So the more I love myself, the less I am jealous of anybody else, because I love myself first. I appreciate the person I am, but also I went through a lot of experience that broke my heart and broke my mindset so many times. And for me is to step in front of that person that you might feel jealousy, or you might feel, why is she doing so well and I'm not? Standing like, why is she doing like that, you know? And just understanding that it wasn't easy for her as well, and she went through many things as well. So maybe not becoming jealous, but admiring, creating that emotion within yourself, like admiring other women. Like, it's the most powerful thing you can do. But that can only start the day that you admire yourself, because up until then, if you don't love yourself, you will always have that within you. And that happened to me, because when I was younger, I never really loved myself. I really was born in a really hardcore situation of my life, where I never had that appreciation from others. So it made me believe that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't seen. Other women, all my cousins, were seen more than me, so that made me belittle me and made me feel smaller. So when I saw other women having more than me, I would have that like kind of jealousy. But yeah, with the time and with all what I've studied and what I've become and how much I try to empower myself to love myself, I now understand that I actually love when women are empowered. It's because the more women are empowered, the less conflict there is in life and the less bad energy. So our energy is very powerful, you know. So when you send that energy to a woman, it's so powerful. So we need to be careful. Also, what I was telling you before, I mean, not in the podcast, but we were talking before about protecting our energy. And that's so important because we can't share our energy with anybody just like that. Need to be careful and very protective of who we are and who we share our energy with. But yeah,
and I think also something which has helped me in terms of ever feeling jealousy or something like that towards another woman, and you've touched on it in terms of feeling inspired by them, because also I remind myself that we can only see in another what we have within ourselves. So if we place judgments on somebody else, especially a woman, that is a reflection of judgments that we have internally of ourselves. Equally, if we can see the beauty in another woman and you know, celebrate that even internally, then we are in turn also giving ourselves that
frequency
and that love and and reminding ourselves of our own beauty. So and it's what you project on others, and then that's your frequency, and that's how you vibrate. So the more jealousy, the more you feel not secure with yourself, the more you're gonna see those things inside you. Need to shift that mindset, and sometimes it's not easy, but it takes work and it takes interest to, you know, journal how do you feel every day about yourself. For me, it was a really long journey to arrive to the point where I am right now, to be so happy with who I naturally am, the way I speak, the way I look, and the person I am in my everyday life. And finally I'm like, I see myself in the mirror and I'm like happy with Diana, who is she is completely. I remove my extensions. I like feel now completely happy with who I am. And that makes me feel more happy. And I mean, from speaking before the podcast and stuff like that, I know that that's been a bit of a journey for you to arrive at this point. So what if there's other women who are listening to this who have, you know, are currently struggling on their self-love journey, what are some tips or recommendations that you would give to them to help them cultivate deeper self-love within them?
That's a good question. I think for me, what everything started is realizing that it was not just about the physical side. So as you know, and maybe some of you who are listening know, I was a fitness trainer who was really focused on her physical image. And the more I fixate on the way I looked, the more sometimes I feel like I saw many mistakes in myself, many things that I didn't like. And the way I started evolving into really loving myself was when I realized that it was something within myself, the way I connected with myself. So I started practicing many things about self-love, just journaling, like writing to myself, and just really, for example, one of the big things for me was food and the relationship I had with food. And I wouldn't eat certain things at a certain time, or just be very careful because I was scared to be looking in a different way. I was taking care of my body like super obsessively. And the time I just, actually the time I stopped all those obsessive thoughts and start to come more into flowing with my body, listening to my body. And that started when I practiced more somatic healing and cyclical living, how I live through my cycles and just listen to within, and not too much of what I see out or what I expect myself to be. Mostly really listening to my body, listen to myself. Now I eat intuitively. I eat what I need. I know already, I know that I need to eat healthy, and I know the way that I need to eat healthy, but I'm not obsessive with my food, if you know what I mean. I'm just living very intuitively, and the way is to connect with your intuition, which is tapping into your feminine energy. It's a powerful source, like just tapping into this, and this will tell you how you can move through life with flow instead of rejecting yourself, or like blocking yourself from things. Just allow to open yourself and realize that the more you are open, the more you can flow through life. And yeah, I stopped being a personal trainer, and I love personal training, and I love fitness, and I don't get me wrong, exercise is one of the most powerful things in my life, because it changed my life. It changed me from depression to really uplifting myself, but also like feminine flows, feminine energy, just resting what I need, and really loving myself to say, today I'm tired and I need to rest. That's self-love. Not like, today I'm tired, but I'm gonna exercise because I need to look good. That is not self-love.
Yeah, and even just, not even just in terms of how you look good, but I think that's a big part of the reason why both you and I are so passionate about encouraging women to embrace more of their feminine energy. It's not meant as a rejection of the masculine energy, but it's that women especially have gotten so out of tune and so disconnected from their feminine energy, because it's like we've been told that in order to be successful in society, then we have to step more into our masculine energy. And honestly, in the workplace, we've both discussed this, that in most people's workplaces, they do need to be more in
the masculine
energy. And there's nothing wrong with that, but then to have that then as the overpowering force of every aspect of your life, it gets to the point where you feel so disconnected from yourself.
So disconnected.
So exhausted, so depleted. It causes our stress hormone, our cortisol to peak. And so, we're living so out of alignment with our natural rhythms because we're so disconnected from how we truly feel. So, the feminine energy is sacred rest and things like that. And that's something that you just addressed of, so much of the time we don't listen to if we need to rest. We don't listen if our cycle is like at the time when we're so low with energy that the best thing for us to do would be just to rest. But we think we need to, push through and stay in our masculine energy with all this stuff. But then we just feel exhausted and disconnected.
Burnt out.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and it's something that I feel like people are getting for granted is the moon cycles, how you live through it. And it was a really shift on my life where I started taking care of that, because I never understood, I never even wondered about my follicular phase, and if I was in my period, what would I do? I was just going to the gym and exercising normally the way I do everyday life. But understanding that and not taking it for granted, and actually honoring our moon cycles changes everything.
So could you explain to women at home then at what stages of the different menstrual cycle, of your menstrual cycle, should you do what, and which gifts can each time within your menstrual cycle, what gifts can they offer you?
All right. So everything starts with the menstruation, of course. And this is a time, honestly, to slow down and to really go inwards and tap with anything that's going on within yourself. And that's a time where you need to slow down, because your body is going through a strong process, which is bleeding, and you're releasing toxins, and you're releasing that toxic blood, and you're like cleansing. So a lot of this time I use it to first journal to what I'm releasing out of my life that no longer is serving me. I also slow down in my workouts. I sometimes even don't train, depends the way I feel, but if I exercise, it will be something really light, like a yoga class or just going on a long walk. And of course, always I try to move my body every day, but this time is to be kind with yourself, to eat healthy foods, although during this time our body is asking us for a lot of chocolates and sugar and stuff. This is not the time to really eat those foods. Instead, it's a time to eat warm foods and lentil soups and like a lot of vegetables, and our body is releasing a lot of blood, so it's a lot of iron that the body needs. So my body in my menstruation asks me for a lot of meat, red meats. So yeah, this is a time for me to slow down in any part. And then after the menstruation, there is the luteal phase, which is one of the best phases, where you actually feel like you're back to life, you feel your most creative and most passionate self. So this is a time to really go into achieving goals, into creating new projects, into really dialing into your business or whatever you're going to create, because a lot of your now your body is regenerating again and is creating, so a lot of energy of creation. Then we go into our follicular phase, which is also, you have a lot of energy during this phase, so your workouts can go back to normal, you can work out, you will feel a lot of energy, and that's when you feel the happiest, like that's when you are at the top. I mean, like, you feel like you are in all your powers. But in order to feel like that in that stage, I feel that if you honor all of the stages before, all of the phases before, you will even enjoy this phase more. I do a lot of I like to host a lot of things during this time, because I think at this time I can give my energy more to people. I'm very social in this time. Well, in my menstruation, I don't want to see anyone. I just want to be with myself and just be. But yeah, being social, being outgoing, and doing all the things that we want to do with people. And then the last part is the ovulation part, where your body is accumulating a lot of water and starts to slow down, it starts to really again to ask for your space. But also you are more sexual in this time, so you feel a lot of passion for your partner if you have a partner. If not, I like to use this time to dance, to go for a static dance, to really connect with my sensuality, with my body. And that's how I will separate and how I will treat my body in different stages. And just understanding this, it's like life-changing for me.
Wow, beautiful. So we've addressed a little bit about feminine energy, and actually just for anyone that isn't as knowledgeable about what feminine energy even means, maybe you could give to the listeners at home a description about what feminine energy is for you, and also maybe addressing also what masculine energy is for you, so that you know, we can create that differentiation.
Yeah, for sure. So before, when I didn't know about these whole subjects, I would think that feminine energy would be being feminine. And most of the people think that when we are talking about feminine energy, it's just being feminine. Some men will think that is being feminist and just going against masculine. But no, it's not like that. All of us have feminine energy, and all the world actually has feminine energy. But some places like Dubai is a great example of the masculine energy, because it's a place of drive, of entrepreneurship, of getting things done. People work a lot here, although it's like the most the best place to live, because you have a lot of things to rest, you know, like it feels like you are in a holiday, but actually you are not. I now that I have my own business, I realize how much work we actually do in this country, because it's that competitive masculine energy here, like go, do, everybody's doing, you need to achieve.
Work hard, play hard, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. While feminine energy can also be, if I relate to a place, I would relate to Bali. Bali is a place where people come to be. People come to connect with nature, with Mother Earth, because it gives us that sense of being, of intuition, of creation, of, like, you know, being empathy, being compassion. That's the feeling I get from that land. Different lands have different energies. The same with people. Some men have a lot of feminine energy. They are really connected with their feminine energies, maybe because of their work, what they are practicing. Maybe some men are dancers, you know, they're more connected with that playful energy. And the same goes with women. Some women are more connected with their masculine energy, and we see it a lot nowadays, especially competitive women who go for races and all of that stuff. They are all the time into their masculine, trying to achieve goals every time, and that's not bad at all. But it's having a balance between both of them. So understanding when you are on your feminine energy in a healthy way is when you are in connected with your intuition, you are compassionate, you are listener, you are creative, you are passionate, you are all these beautiful things. If your feminine energy is wounded, then you will tend to break out all the time. You know, you tend to let your emotions control you, and it happened to me a lot before. I would let any situation become like this roller coaster of emotions, and then they are like wild horses, and then just go and you can't control them, and then you start doing crazy things. And that's why we need in this moment our masculine, healthy energy, which holds a space for all those emotions. That's why I'm saying, like, the balance between both of these energies is so healthy. Because the masculine energy actually is a space holder, it creates containers, is logical. So when you are too emotional, there is logic behind telling you, okay, you are being irrational here, you know. But also understand that you are allowed to be emotional. And you are allowed to be a crybaby sometimes. It's okay. It's okay. If it's in a healthy way. If it's in a healthy way, an emotion can lead to so many bad things. For example, I will tell you one story from when I was younger. I was going through a very hard time, and at one day I let my emotions control me so much that I wanted to kill myself. And I tried to cut my wrist, and a lot of women go through this because they are into the wounded feminine energy, and people commit suicide because they don't know how to control these energies, and they just let it control them, and it becomes like something, like an energy outside you that is just controlling you completely. So I feel like this is so important to learn, yet we didn't learn it in the school. They didn't teach these essential things in the school: how to be in tune with your emotions, with your energies, how to control, how to master your emotions, not control your emotions, but master. So those are the two differences I find between masculine and feminine energy. The wounded feminine energy, the unhealthy masculine energy is controlling, is possessive, it has a tight grip that doesn't loosen up. But when you are in your healthy masculine and feminine, that's the perfect balance, and you will feel just flowing with ease and being successful, yet being. Yeah.
Firstly, just thank you so much for sharing that story. I really appreciate it. And also, I've never heard it said in that way before, but it's I really like the way that you phrased it, of the masculine within ourselves as well, not just with another person, but the masculine energy within ourselves can be this healthy container for our feminine energy when we're feeling these heavy emotions. And I've definitely had, the same when I allow my emotions to kind of take over. And listen, I'm not saying I'm suddenly perfect now and I never allow my emotions to take over, but something which really created a shift within me was that, I was raised by a therapist, and so it was always very much like, speak about your feelings and everything like that, which is beautiful. And at the same time, I think I went a bit too far that way of feeling like if I feel an emotion, if it then therefore it's my truth and therefore I need to express it out into the world. When actually sometimes the most loving thing to do for yourself and to truly heal and to truly connect to the emotion and ask it, what do you need from me right now? Often the best way to help it is not to just spurt it out and explode out into the world with it. We can process the emotions for sure, but I think being able to trust yourself that no matter what happens, that you have your own back and that you can keep yourself safe no matter what, is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful self-love practices that you can give to yourself. And it's definitely not the easiest one, but just practicing emotional resilience. And actually, maybe we can discuss a little bit about, breath work and some of the somatic practices that you use in order to create more emotional resilience within yourself and to help yourself if you are ever feeling, some heightened moments of heightened emotion.
Yeah. So when I took my yoga teacher training, actually everything was about really coming into Zen, into inner silence, into stillness. The yoga teaches you a lot about achieving stillness, and that's the final goal of yoga. But when I started practicing somatic healing and somatic therapy, it kind of teach me the opposite, like to not just to like be in a stillness, but we actually, as a human beings, we have a lot of emotions, and we cannot really just pretend that we're gonna sit in silence and retain our emotions, because then we start storing these emotions. And I talk a lot with women about how we store so many of our emotions in our hips, in this part. So we do a lot of hip openers and a lot of like sacral chakra rotations, and to activate this area. But also, like in somatic healing, we release the emotions through movements. So in yoga, I feel, and not to compare the both, because I also love to meditate, and I also need times where I need to be still for 30 minutes and not talk and just empty my mind. But the importance of somatic therapy is that if you do not release the emotions through these movements and through these techniques, you will release your emotions in maybe violent ways, you know. Maybe if you are with a partner, you will be aggressive with your words or even with your physical. In somatic, we have techniques such as tapping. Tapping helps you to self-regulate. So in those moments where you feel anxious, mostly like when you feel anxiety or where you feel overwhelmed, I use it a lot when I'm at work. So I'm not a person who prefers to sit in a laptop, but nowadays this is my job, is to create in my laptop and sit and just like be in my laptop for so long hours, and sometimes that brings me a little bit of anxiety because it's an unknown territory for me to be in an office and feel that way. So I do a lot of tapping during my work hours to self-regulate me, to understand that it's safe for me in my body right now. Somatic therapy, a lot of techniques, a lot helps you express those emotions. So we do, for example, one of my favorites is to put a pillow within your legs, and you are kneeling, and then you just hold, like if you're holding something with your hands, and you punch the pillow so many times, but you do it with the breath. So, and you're just pushing that emotion out in another way that is healthy and that helps you, feel release. We do a lot of shouting, a lot of breathing to release and to mostly connect with your body. Feel what your body is feeling, because when we dissociate with our bodies, it happens a lot, and most of the people live through the life with dissociation with their bodies. They do not know what is going on. Like, they might have a pain, but they don't feel it because they are not feeling their bodies. So it helps you to embody, to feel your body, to feel more connected. So yeah, that's, for me, is why I decided to do retreats, is knowing many, many things, having all these tools to empower your life, not through only yoga, not through only meditation. Somatic healing is so important for women right now. We don't know it, but until we try it, we know how important it is to release emotions in that way, how important it is to breathe, and all of these techniques that I would love to teach to many, many, many women around the world. Yeah.
Wow, yes, and I can speak from first-hand experience of coming along to one of your workshops, and I remember feeling very stressed before coming along, and then we did all these somatic practices, and just through these movements I felt totally transformed by the end of it. And I'm a big advocate for therapy, and obviously I'm a coach, so I see the power in speaking things through. But also it's so interesting to see how much, as you said, emotion is stored within our bodies without us realizing, and sometimes all that we need to do is literally just move that emotion through us,
move that energy, because that's energy that is stagnating in different areas. A lot of also dancing, it connects you so much. How many women pass so many months, so many days without dancing, without moving the hips? That area is, like, for me, like, now realizing how sacred this area is and how important it is to be connected with your womb. So actually my next goal is to have to do a certification about womb healing, and that is something that I really want to tap into. I think it's gonna be really useful and add so much value to what I'm already trying to get into women's mind.
Wow, I have goosebumps hearing you say that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read this book, which I think you might find quite interesting, and it's called Vagina, and it's by a woman called Naomi Wolf, and she speaks a lot about how a lot of trauma is stored in this part of the body for women, and why things like, in war, that aggressive, like even, just things that would happen to women, it would be either rape or even like putting swords in that part of the body, because it's such a sacred part of the feminine that, and there's a lot of ancient scriptures that talk about how, even the female orgasm and things like that, it connects us to a state of enlightenment. And so then to harm that part of our body specifically, it can really, take part of a woman's soul. And so really it is so important.
Womb healing is so good.
And, I believe in past lives and how, and even ancestrally, how we can hold on to generational trauma. So even if you didn't encounter, rape or something like that.
Yeah, but your ancestors.
Exactly. And then that's stored within your DNA. And so as women, it really is important to experience things like womb healing and do what you can to connect to that part of your body, because there is so much stored information there. And sometimes there's trauma that's stored there that we need to release energetically.
Yeah, it's so important to be like informed as a woman. A lot about all these things, and that's what I want to bring now to women. Not just it's a whole compound of things that will help women live a truly authentic life with happiness, with empowerment, and with joy, with full joy. And I'm still on that journey. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect right now, and there is moments where I also feel lost and where I also feel emotional, and I also don't know what to do with my emotions, and there is moments where I myself don't come to my somatic therapy, I miss my practice or something, and then I will feel a little bit unbalanced. But just knowing that when I don't do it the way I feel, and when I practice, when I do my daily practice, I feel completely different. Today, I did my whole practice. I feel complete in tune with myself, that I trust the universe so much. Because once you understand the power you have as a woman, and this goes for all the women who are listening, it's very important to know within ourselves we have the power. We can connect with that power any time of the day, but it's about our choice that we make to connect. If we do not connect, we will not know we have that power to trust. So when you trust, all your fears, all your worries, of your self-doubts of I'm not gonna be able to do this, what am I doing, where am I going, what should I do, choices, and anything, it all comes so clear when you are in tune with your intuition, with your feminine energy. Because then you know that no matter what happened, the universe is there to support you, and you are guided somehow. It's just so magical. So I invite any woman who is out there listening to really trying to understand more about these subjects, and understanding more about who you are as a woman and all the things you go through, and understanding the psychology behind your body, your mind, your spirit, and everything.
Yes. Yeah, and I think as well, we talk about this stuff, not I talk about like dating and relationships and stuff, but I'm not talking about tapping into your feminine energy in order to get the guy or anything like that. And I know for you as well, we're both doing this for the sake of your empowerment. And I think when women, it's fantastic to be tapped into your masculine energy, but if you never tap into your feminine energy, you're really missing out on so much magic from the universe, because feminine energy is life force energy. There is literally no more powerful energy than that. And so to not tap into that energy is kind of doing a disservice to yourself, because you have this innate superpower within you. Yeah, and then, as you said, then you're in the flow with the universe. You know, the universe is about creation as well, so that's, you know, feminine energy too. And so when you're in connection to yourself, you're in connection to nature, you're in connection to the universe. It's just everything kind of works easier for you, actually.
Easier, yeah.
Yeah,
and there is going to be moments where bad situations happen, because it's like life is normal. Life is life, no matter what. But the more balanced you are within your energies, the more connected you are with your feminine energy, the more you will know how to react. So interesting, because just like past experiences, and you look back, the way you reacted when, for example, I wasn't aware of all these things, and the way I react now is so much awakened than before, and it has helped me to stay so sane at the same time, so like in tune and continuously growing, because when you are connected with your feminine energy, then your success is also really going in the flow. You don't have to push for anything. You don't have to chase, you don't have to control. You lose the control of things, because the way things flow is the way you see a life. You're like, you're just flowing with life, and your business, your relationship, your body, the way you look, the way you act, everything just aligns and just flows.
Yeah. And just some final questions, and you probably thought I'd forget about this, but I'd love to ask you a little bit about your relationship, and specifically also because, you know, you've created this business with your partner, and I'd just love to explore the topic of masculine and feminine energy within partnership as well, because, you know, creating a business with your partner, you're both going to have to be quite tapped into your masculine energy with that. And I think the problem that some, you know, heterosexual couples have is that, especially women will come from their workplace and be super in their masculine energy, which is great, but then that then seeps into their relationship as well. And so how, from your perspective, what practices do you do, or just reminders that you have for yourself in order to tap into your feminine energy to allow for that sexual polarity within your relationship to thrive?
Well, for me and Luke and I, it's been such a, I would call it a spiritual journey. And what I wanted to tell you as well is, like, your relationship is one of the most spiritual journeys for you, and especially with you when you are with the right person. I feel like for me at this moment of my life, my boyfriend, my partner, my business partner, and my friend, he's everything in once, and he's that right person who has helped me spiritually grow, because I see the shadows in him. I see so many things in him that I never would be able to see if I was alone, you know. And creating a business together was a big sacrifice for our relationship, because obviously now when you enter into business together, you are entering into having to make decisions together. And as of you know, men and women are totally different worlds. Like, it's so true when they say women are from Mars, and
men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Yeah. Men are from, the same. Like, it's actually insane how we will think in such a different way. So to make a decision, he will think with the logic, of course, and sometimes I will think with my emotions, and I'm like super passionate, and he will say, no, it's not like that. So it's like having an understanding, and the man also has to have an understanding that it will not always be the same decision making. Like we will always have different points of view, but it's just creating that understanding that for me is to be connected with my feminine energy, to be empathic and compassionate, to know that I'm not going to judge this man that is my man, because I understand him from where he comes, why he's choosing this, and coming from love, not from ego. So what has helped me the most is first journal, and every day I'm like, please God or universe, help me to connect with my love today, from my love and not from my ego, because if we act from ego, I will kill him. You know, like there is so many things, so many moments where I'm like, how is he thinking like this? But come back to the love, not to the ego. It's just like understanding that he might think like this and it's okay, he can. Let's come to an agreement. The way I kept my relationship this far is always having time for myself, to come back to myself, to come back to my feminine energy, to never lose myself into this relationship and into the business. Because the day I lose myself into those things, there is no more happiness and no more joy. I need to remain who I am, who I practice, my routine, everything I do for myself. Then I can be in tune with these two important things of my life, which are mixed, which is my partner and my business. And that way I can be like at work, he can think the logic things. I'm more intuitive, so I can make choices when the choice has to be intuitive. What do you feel towards making a collaboration with this person? I think it's not okay. You know, I don't feel this energy connection. Maybe he, in the logic way, he will think, oh, this is a great collaboration. We go ahead. And I'm like, no. So sometimes he listens to me. He's like, no, you know what? You take the decision this time. I know that we need to trust what you're feeling right now. And the same goes with taking decisions where it has to be more towards the logic side and maybe numbers or all that kind of stuff. I leave it to him, you know. I'm like, you take over. So I think actually it's a really good balance, because the things that I would do maybe with another woman, it will be super on this side. Think having that balance between him and I is magical, and I've kept myself very strong in this relationship because I keep connecting with myself throughout, and it hasn't been easy. Of course, we have been having a lot of trouble and fights and everything, but we always go back to what holds us together, which is this pure love for each other and this passion and this attraction and honestly, like loving the person the way he is, and he loves me the way I am, and just accepting each other that we are different, but that's the magic of it.
Wow, I think that's so beautiful, and I think you've really raised an important point within relationship of accepting the person as they are, and that doesn't mean that you can't inspire them to grow in different ways, and it also doesn't mean that you don't hold your own boundaries, but embracing that you're both going to be different in some way and embracing the gifts of those differences, rather than, you know, I see there's this whole concept of mothering within a relationship, of women essentially trying to control their partner, and you know, it's potentially coming from a very loving place of wanting to have the best for them, but then sometimes actually you're emasculating your partner by trying to control them and telling them my way is the only right way to do this. So I think for women to surrender to the fact that, you know, maybe your partner is right, and maybe even it's just different to what you would like, and that's okay, you know. You can celebrate those differences. So,
and you live more relaxed. I used to be that woman, like when I was few years ago in my previous relationship, I was super into my masculine shield. I will control every part, and everything has to be on my way and the way I say. And you know, the grip was so tight. I wouldn't loosen up. Now with Luke, and it has helped me a lot that he's into his masculine, healthy energy. So he holds the space for me, and he creates containers, and he lets me know that he also is the man. So it's not about controlling, it's about surrendering as well, to understanding that sometimes the choices he makes is for the good of both of us. And I just have to surrender and trust, and it's been beautiful.
Wow, amazing. So, at the end of every podcast, I want to ask people these 3 quick-fire questions, which I haven't sent over to you, so they really will be spontaneous. So the first question is, what is the meaning of love to you?
Acceptance. I feel like loving, accepting oneself first, then accepting others is loving, accepting how they are. So accepting the way we are.
Wow, beautiful. I love that. Number 2, what is something that you wish you knew earlier about love?
I think I wish I knew that love is not perfect. And you cannot get everything in a person perfect. And that you need to understand that to be happy with the person you are, to truly love, is to understand that there is no perfection, and that's okay. The more you accept differences, the more you accept mistakes and down times, you know, when you feel that sometimes things don't go the way you want, it's love. That's real love, I think. I feel like I wish I knew earlier that I wouldn't find the perfect partner, that I would find a partner who would show me my shadows.
The person who's perfect for you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a perfect person.
Exactly.
And the final question is there anyone, any people, any place, anything you'd like to give love to right now?
I would like to send some love to my mom. So I haven't been able to be super close to her, and we've been living away from each other for 13 years. She lives in Colombia, the other side of the world, and I live here. And I send love to her right now, because sometimes I do not have time to be a good daughter. And yeah, just lately. So anytime I have the time to send love, I hope she receives this energy from me, because I really love my mom.
Well, I'm sure she's incredibly proud of the woman that you are today.
Thank you. I'm sure. Yeah.
So, Diana, just thank you so much for doing this podcast with me. And actually, as a little side note, this is basically the 3rd time we've recorded this podcast, because there's been some technical difficulties. So I just appreciate you so much for trusting in me and supporting me with your time and your energy and your love and your care. And I'm just so grateful as well that you've shared so much wisdom with everybody listening at home. So yeah, thank you for being.
Me too. Thank you so much for bringing me here to be your first ever guest. And I can't wait to see how this whole project is going to evolve, because I feel like you are now super connected with yourself, and you know what you want. And I feel like when you have that vision, I can already see that these technical issues and everything in the future, you're gonna have amazing studio to record your own podcast, and you will have everything you always wanted because you're like super in tune. So proud of you and the woman you are. So happy you are in my life, and that's the beautiful thing about this journey, meeting people and women like you that are on the same journey. It's magical how it all happens when you are walking into your purpose life. So thank you so much, everybody, for hearing as well, and hope these few words of a person who has experienced a lot in her life help other women to grow. Thank you. Me too.
Oh, beautiful.